Good morning. It's day 63. I'm just walking from the tent site down to the bus stop, which will pick me up at 9 o'clock and bring me into Stehekin. My wife Anna has kindly arranged for a bus or a boat trip across Lake Chelan, and then I'll take a bus and be at a hotel, and then tomorrow, hopefully, if all goes well, picked up by Yellow Blaze Transport and brought to Seattle, and then I'll fly to Reno. So this marks the end of my northern trip. I would have loved to have gotten to the terminus, but there's a lot of information suggesting that it's less practical. PCTA has suggested people get off here. There are fires on three sides of the northern terminus in close proximity, and the town of Mazama is, I believe, under a level 3 mandatory evacuation. That's the town closest, and so the access points in and out from the northern terminus are quite limited. Many of the folks I've been around are still hiking there, and people are getting there successfully. But since I'm a lone hiker and I don't have the resources of a group or friends, relatives, people in the area who can drive up to Hart's Pass and pick me up, or other Rainy Pass type locations, it's just limited my options. So I would have loved to have stood on those northern terminus telephone poles and kind of stared at the Canadian border, but I think I'm within less than 100 miles right now, so I'm just going to call it here and proceed. So today is a 0. I've only taken 2 zeros on my trip so far out of 60 odd days, and today and the next 2 days will be zeros, just in transport down into the Sierra, and then I'll pick up on my trip and head south through the Sierra. So pretty excited about that, and looking forward to the next phase of the adventure. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, it's about 2 p.m. day 65. Been out of touch for a few days. I'm heading south now. I'm in the just south of Donner Pass, and today was a Nero. So let me account for the last couple of days. I think 62 was the day I finished on trail. Day 63, I took a boat from Lake Chelan, which is now, which was smoke filled at the time, but now has a serious fire that's erupted, even more smoke. And then I took a bus from the other end of Lake Chelan, it's a huge lake, down to Wenatchee, where I stayed the night at a hotel there. And the next morning I got a transit ride to Seattle from Yellow Blaze Transit, very effective. Then I waited around 6 or 7 hours at Seattle airport and took a flight to Reno, and I checked into a hotel where I've spent 2 nights, and the first night is 0. This last night was technically a Nero, since I got back on the trail around 1:30 today. And yeah, so air quality's been atrocious everywhere on the trail, or on my trip. Lake Chelan was very smoky, but now it's worse with a fire burning right in at Lake Chelan. Wenatchee was over 105 degrees when I got there late at night, and then Reno was completely smoke filled as well, and over 100 degrees yesterday. Today the weather is quite windy, which is good for blowing out some of the smoke, but it's still there. It was raining ash at Reno this morning, and or not raining, but snowing ash on us. And yeah, and so I got a ride down here for my dear cousin Kate and her great husband Bill. I'll put some pictures of them in, who I hadn't seen in over 10 years, and they live in the area, and well, within 100 miles or so, and drove out to pick me up, to socialize a bit and bring me to the trail. And we had breakfast. It was wonderful. to see Kate and Bill. So thank you so much, Kate and Bill. Dropped me off at the trail, I guess around 1:30 or so, and now I'm on not quite the Sierra. I think technically I won't be in the Sierra for another 75 miles, but I'm north of Tahoe, and I'm going to proceed south. I have my bear canister, which is an unpleasant feeling in my back, another couple of pounds back there, so I may have to be on a daily leave regimen to try and alleviate that pain. My next stop for resupply will be South Lake Tahoe, which is 60 odd miles ahead, and yeah, so that's where it's at. It's like 2 o'clock. It's very windy. It's much cooler out here. We'll be passing through, I'm over 7,000 feet now, going up in elevation. It's borderline cold. It's supposed to be in the 40s tonight, so technically good for hiking during the day and sleeping at night. And I'm solo. I'd love to find another Sobo hiker, but we'll see. You know, one way or the other. I'm heading south, man. So this is the update, and I'm heading out. Take care. You can see I'm traversing a ski area, and the trail goes over here. Pretty sure that's the trail. I see it looks like a trail over there. It's probably the PCT since nothing else is going on around here. And I'll go into another valley. It's cool and windy. I'm up over 8,000 feet. This is the highest I've been on the PCT, and it'll be just a beginning, since as I get into the Sierra I'll get much higher than that. And it's windy and cool, but it's sunny, and I'm sweating because I'm carrying so much dang weight with this bear canister, and full food, full fuel, full water. I'll get used to it. Hey there! It's blowing 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. It's hard to stand up, and the trail is right. It's just a few feet from a giant cliff, so I've been trying to evaluate other ways around it, but I'm facing cliffs in all directions, so I'm hanging out here, lowered my poles, and then I'm gonna crawl off this ridge. Fortunately, the trail goes down a bit, but it's pretty shitty. Dare I say gravity? It's unnerving. But hey, this is all fun. I'm having fun. Looks like I'm heading into the woods again. God, I hope I'm not up on an exposed part of this mountain. It's been exciting, but it's been about as much fun as a colonoscopy. It's being a foot or two from the edge with such high winds that you struggle to stand upright, and the wind is blowing towards and over the cliff is not the thing that I look forward to. Oh well, let's hope that that part's over for the day. Talk to you soon. Here comes another exposed ridge walk. I can see the trail kind of going that way and then up over the hill. And then I can see it again up here, probably going close to the edge. It's funny how you look this way and the skies are blue and beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful area. But then you look due south and it's just atrocious air quality. It's been one of the first days it's actually kind of bothered me. I can feel it, and it doesn't feel great. But press on. Good thing I'm invincible. Superman. Hoorah! Well, I got lucky. They didn't make me walk right along the cliff edge here. It is so windy right now, it's hard to stand. It's crazy. These exposed places, it's got to be 50 plus mile an hour. Approaching, and each time I take a step, I get blown a couple of feet to my left. Yikes. Here's the smoke. This is where I'm heading. This is to my right off the trail. A lot of smoke out there. Still high winds, but so much better now that I'm down off the ridgeline. There's a 8,950 feet Tinker Knob behind me. There's some cliffs that I'm happy not to be up on. And going this way. Hey, good morning. It's day 66. It's about 6:45 in the morning. Been awake for a while. Yesterday I did about 16 miles. The air quality was atrocious. I got a text from a hiker friend, Paul, who sent me an imagery that it was in the dangerous zone, I guess. It was red, and felt pretty poor all day. This is like really the first time the smoke has bothered me on trail. And so I'm doing some more research. I'm adjacent to a ski area here. You can see the top of it. Looks like a crane up there. So I'm going to have to consider whether I hike all the way to South Lake Tahoe or go to that ski area and then hike across the ski area and try and hitchhike down. I mean, the air quality is still poor, really, really terrible. Had a hard time breathing yesterday, felt a lot of tightness in my chest. At least it's not windy right now. It's still cold. It's in the low 50s right now, but yeah, you can see kind of looking in the woods, it's just thick, thick, thick. So I'm going to have to make a decision early this morning whether I try and hike out to a major road to get a hitchhike, maybe to a hostel or something for a few days. But it wasn't the best of nights. It was just hard to breathe. And I have a, typical mask that you use for this guy here for pandemic, but I saw on the news that it's rather pointless against smoke particles, which are much smaller. So in any case, I've got to make some decisions in the next hour or two or three. I'm going to be packing up, having breakfast, and hitting the trail. Talk to you soon. Good morning again. I made a decision. I've elected to stay on the PCT and hike 48 additional miles to South Lake Tahoe. It's still thick, thick, thick smoke out here, but I have been in communication with my wife. There doesn't appear to be any imminent fire danger. There is the Tamarack fire, which is further south, and there's a new fire near the Tamarack, but that's still quite a distance away. So I'm going to keep heading south along the PCT. If things get much worse, there appears to be a bunch of bailout trails that I could take down to Lake Tahoe and then hitch. So I'll do that. I just wasn't that keen on hiking over a gigantic ski area and then hoping to find someone to give me a ride. So I'm just gonna keep going this way and see how it goes. It's not an ideal situation. If I had I'm just going on a corner here. If I had more foresight about the trail conditions, the smoke conditions, I probably would have figured out how to bypass this whole area, maybe even South Lake Tahoe. I'll show you a map on the video that Paul sent me. And the air quality is terrible even in South Lake Tahoe. And it starts to improve at Kennedy Meadows North, and then it gets, shortly after that, it gets great. So, yeah, I'd probably have gone to Kennedy Meadows North, but regardless, it is what it is. Make decisions, you live with them, react to unforeseen circumstances, and I'm feeling better right now going downhill, and we'll see what happens when I start going uphill or go over some peaks. Talk to you soon. Hey everyone, it is day 67 and I'm in South Lake Tahoe, and you can tell I'm in a hotel room. And so this is what happened on day 66. As I continued hiking after some of the pictures and videos I had taken, I came across several hikers going north who alerted me to a fire, the Caldor fire, that was burning in an uncontrolled fashion and indeed was covering the trail with smoke. And the second group of hikers told me the trail had been closed as you approach South Lake Tahoe. So I wasn't going to be able to even hike the PCT all the way into South Lake Tahoe. So I started looking at alternatives, and as I was hiking along, I came across the first dirt road and about 40 miles of hiking. I had gone about 20, a little over 20, I think it was 22 miles for the day. And I'm standing on the dirt road saying, man, wouldn't it be nice if I saw a car come by? And what happens? A car comes by. So, the trail delivers. There was a very nice young man who explained my situation. He was going to Tahoe City, which is far north of South Lake Tahoe. And I said, listen, I'll go anywhere to get off this trail because of the approaching fire and smoke. So he drove me down. And as we got to the lake, and he was going to take a left to go to Tahoe City, he said, we had been having a great conversation. He said, listen, let me just drive you to wherever you're going. And he drove me to South Lake Tahoe. So, Stephen, thank you so much. What a great guy. He's about to leave on a world trip, going to Asia and potentially on to Europe. So young guy with a bright future, but looking to have some adventure just like the rest of us on the PCT. So phenomenal. So here it is. That was yesterday. I got into Lake Tahoe, or South Lake Tahoe, like 5-ish at night. The first place I was going to stay was a hostel, which I would have liked to because it was cheaper. Been converted to a homeless shelter, so that's not going to work, and they were full up. So a couple of doors down, I found another place, the Apex Motel, which was great, and had dinner across the street at Tahoe Pizza, which was one of the best pizzas I've had in ages. And my dear cousin Kate has been reaching out, so she's going to come out here tonight. This is now day 67. I have to look at my chart. And she's going to spend the night here in this area, and then they're going to drive me down to Kennedy Meadows more north tomorrow. So this is it for day 67. It's going to be a 0. Frankly, it's been pretty exasperating between the amount of time I'm spending in transit, planes, trains, boats, everything, and then just the confounding fires and smoke here in Northern California. So it's, I've really dramatically slowed down any further progress. But tomorrow I hope to get back on trail and resume that progress from Kennedy Meadows, going south, Sonora Pass, I think technically. And then hike from there. I'll resupply myself today in town at a supermarket, and try and carry enough that I can get to Mammoth, and then resupply there. I think it's like 115 miles after Kennedy Meadows. So that's the update. A lot of non-hiking stuff, a lot of gasping for breath. I mean, I've always felt great on the trail. I mean, my legs and feet are sore, but never has my head and my chest hurt like it has in the last 36 hours. I mean, I still have a pounding headache, and on trail, I just had tightness. I could not breathe. It was pretty terrible. But, that's in the rearview mirror. You got to look optimistically at these things. And so I'll relax today, stuff my face with food, and then head south tomorrow. More updates later. Take care.